Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emmanuel Obi, aka Koliko the First, and as you've already seen from the title of this video, we are going to be delving deep into my journey in tech, giving you guys insights on how I started, what I learned, what it took, how I was able to balance it all with classes and school, and how it's going so far. So without wasting any time, let's get into the video. I'm not the developer or child that has been interested in coding since they were very small. The first time I heard about coding or programming in general was on one random afternoon when my mom sent me out to buy matan pepper, want to cook, stuff like that. And on my way there, I met a family friend, now turned mentor, who happened to also study elect what I'm studying or what I've studied rather. And he started talking to me, oh, how are you? How's everybody? Blah, 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 blah. He asked about school. I told him I was on holidays and all. And then he asked what I was doing, whether they started teaching us programming, coding and all. And I said no. And he told me, oh, that it's something I should really look into, that I know use my degree, but if I have a skill like that, then it will be really beneficial for me. And that was the period where, or that was the time where it stuck in my head and, oh, okay, there's something called programming and coding. But I didn't really pay attention to it, right? This was around 2019. So, yeah, I left him, goodbye and all, went back home and continued life, right? And then, but it was always at the back of my mind, right? The whole coding, programming stuff. I remember thinking about it, oh, Python, looking it up, reading about it, stuff like that, but I was never really focused on it. Till 2020, when the pandemic fired everybody and school sent us back home and all for a while. So I was home, right, like every other student or most students, and I was just sleeping and waking up, right? I was trying to figure out what I could really do. That was the time where I was doing press up. That time I was doing press up, trying to build muscle, but all those ones were not useful. After a while, I figured out that okay, yeah, this stuff is actually there for me to learn. And one day, I just went out. I bought Biro, brand new. I bought notebook, 60 leaves proper, and I googled how to learn programming and all. I downloaded Solo Learn because that's something that popped up at the time. And yeah, I was just learning from Solo Learn, reading whatever I read. I'll go and write it down. Wake up the next day, read, write, read, write. I think I finished probably 5 to 6 Solo Learn courses from HTML to CSS to JavaScript and all that. And that was just my that was just the drive that I had, right? There's a lot that you can do when you're jobless. The problem or the issue now becomes choosing what to do. A lot of people might choose something productive, others might go and do other things. But for me, that was just what I was trying to do every day. I wake up, eat, 10 a.m. I've started, 3 p.m. I'm done, and I'm just writing. Over time, I covered about 2 of those 60 leaves notebooks, writing HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Python. I think there was something else I learned at the time. I can't even quite remember now. But yeah, that was my introduction. I took a lot of practice tests and practice tests on Solo Learn and all that, right? Over time, after finishing a lot of those courses, I then went back to that my family friend that is now my mentor and became my mentor during that period. And what he would do is he would usually give me like projects and tasks to accomplish, right? He would tell me, okay, take this design, go and implement it using HTML and CSS and JavaScript and all that. And I would do it 2 3 days. I'll get back to him. He'd tell me, oh, this is wrong. Did this way, change this, do that. And I'll go back another 2 days, come back. That was like our routine for months, right? We were doing the back and forth on different projects, different new tasks. When I finish one, we're going on to another one, learning and learning and relearning and learning and everything, right? We did it for months until one fateful day, one particular day where it's like, Manuel, you, I think you're ready for a job. And if you could have seen the smile on my face at that point in time, it was crazy, right? I felt like, okay, yeah, I'm actually ready because I've done a lot of practice. And mind you, at this point in time, I really just practiced HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I had not learned any frameworks at all. That was like my base, right? I did this for months, probably from February in 2020 to the end of the year. And at some point, we were called back to school. So I was like juggling learning and school and all that, right? So yeah, I did it for 12 months, right? Before he came and said, okay, you're ready for a job, right? And that was then the beginning of a new phase, right? Job search, right? That was the beginning of job search. That's another thing entirely. But in my own case, it was not so hard because unknown to me, unknown to me, he was like going to his workplace to say, oh, I have this mentee, he's doing really well. And everybody was already like, oh, hearing my name, seeing what I was doing. It was, I would call it preaching, right? And it's something I'm really, really grateful for and thankful for till today because that really gave me my foundation. So he would give me tasks to do, and when I'm done with them, he'll be so happy and maybe go to his workplace and say, oh, how this guy did this or did that. And everybody, a lot of them already had a sense for who Emmanuel is and what he might be able to do, right? So when the time came, there was an opportunity for me to interview, and they gave me the opportunity. I did the technical tests, the take-home assignments and all, and I was brought onto the team. My salary was 14K, maybe 14K to 17K, change it, right, depending on the kind of stuff that I take on. But I don't want to go into breaking down how it was calculated. But at the end of the day, maybe every month I'll be taking from 14K to 17K. But I didn't really care because I was happy. I was getting real world experience. I was working on real world projects, right? Products that people are using. So that's like a high level overview of how I got my first job. It was really down to practice, consistent practice, and getting good and getting skilled enough, right? And after that, it was also a combined effort with my mentor who was able to help me get my foot in the door, right? Help me get that interview, help me get that test. And then it came down to me being able to really perform and then prove that yes, the referral he gave me was really useful. I'm skilled enough to do the job, right? So it's important to highlight that you need to have the skill first so that when the opportunity comes, you can be able to perform. So yeah, that was how I got my first job. And to give a sort of timeline, um, going back to from the period of learning, so that was like 2020 down to the end, and then in 2021 getting that first job, right? So at that point in time, I knew only HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and I was thrown into projects where they were using Angular and React. So I was able to pick up one or two things from each of them, which helped me also grow over time. So yeah, over time I became a better engineer, right? Still junior, but a better engineer. And um, it was really a great experience because I was so happy, I was so overjoyed to be having the opportunity to engage and work with products that people around the world internationally were even using, right? So it's really super important to have that experience, and I was grateful for it. Coupled with the fact that I was juggling that job with my school, right? So I returned back to school at this point in time, having classes, going from one class to a free period and having to rush down into class and quickly bring out my laptop and get work done, and then we'll have class again. I'll pack it up, go to the class. That was like my routine for months on end. And it was stressful, I can't lie, but it was worth it. Looking back now, it was definitely worth it, right? So yeah, that's like my journey from starting to getting my first job still in school. So something really important that I would like to point out is the whole idea of balancing learning tech or learning any field in tech and academics, right? School. I always get this question on Twitter. I always get these concerns, right? People always air it. And I'm going to be very straight and very truthful. It is tough. It is hard, right? And the tips or the techniques that people might use while they're in school varies. It depends on personality, it depends on the kind of person you are and how you function. Personally, for me, right, like I said earlier, I always imagine me packing my bags to go to school and I'm packing a laptop. I am packing chargers, extensions. I am packing all that to go to class because at the end of the day, I feel like after my first period, I'm going to have a free period in between. So I'll quickly rush to one class to plug up and work. And then 10 minutes or 5 minutes to my next class, I'm going to pack up again and go and get ready for the next class, right? Imagine that being a routine for months or even years for a 5-year course. So it is extremely hard, right? One technique I always used, which I feel like worked for me, was just being open, right? Being open, knowing that whatever it is, I'm going to take it the way I see it. Whatever grade I have, I'm going to take it the way I see it. But this tech or this software engineering, this product design in your own case, whatever you're learning, this cybersecurity, I must get it right and I must get it well, right? That was the mindset I had. I must learn what I want to learn. I must deliver what I want to deliver. Especially having a job, right? I have deliverables to produce or to result in. So I must deliver it, whether the lecturer likes it or not, right? I even skipped a few classes. I don't advise you to do it, but sometimes I skip classes to produce these results. And that is a personal decision that I made, right? So it's extremely tough. But one thing that I ensured that I did was 30 to 40 days before examination starts in my own school, which is OOU, Olabisi Onabanjo University. 30 to 40 days before examination starts, I stop everything relating to tech, learning, working. I put a hold on it. And it's easier for me to say now looking back because I was in a very flexible environment. They understood that I was a student, but still they're still happy to have me around because of this value that I produced, because of the skill that I had. Right. So for you it might vary, right? It might be in a space or an environment where they can't allow that kind of flexibility, right? But in my own situation, they were able to be that flexible because they understood the value that I brought to the table and they were happy. And they were even really nice people, right? So they were happy to let me go for 30, 40 days to go and prepare for my exam and then have my exam for 2 weeks, right? So I was literally taking 4 to 6 weeks away from them just to clear up my studies. And then after everything, when results comes out, I'll go back and post it on a work group and say, yo, I passed, so these are my grades, and everybody will be really happy. So seeing that even that space they gave me was producing good results in terms of my grades, they were still happy to keep repeating, allowing me go, right? And that was the flexibility that I enjoyed in my own job, in my own experience, in my own space. So that's something I did. For you, you might not have a job while you're in school, which we have to change. Being on this channel, we have to change that. But yeah, if you don't have a job while you're in school, you can stop your learning for a while and face books, right? That's what I did. If you have a job, if you're lucky enough to find yourself in a space where you can take an excuse and focus on learning for a while, try that too because that's what I did and it worked for me. And I don't guarantee that it's going to work for you, but yeah, I've shared my own way of how I tackled such issues. And I hope that you're going to be able to find your own way which works for you and everybody will be happy, right? So having said all that, rounding up my story now, I would say that um, in terms of my journey, in terms of how far I have come, I've finished school now. I'm a graduate. I graduated in January with a first class degree. I have to say it because I suffered for it. So yeah, I have to say it because I suffered for it. I graduated with a first class degree. in electrical and electronics engineering at the top of my class, not just a first class degree. I graduated at the top of my class, top 1% of my graduating class. So I feel like I did a lot. I tried, I suffered, and God blessed me. And I hope that in your own case, it blesses you really well too, in order to achieve a lot more than that. And what I would say is responsible for that achievement is really just something very important is mindset, right? And I know that you might be hearing it and feel like it's cliche, but your mindset really needs to be strong. There are a lot of things that could happen, there are a lot of things that could go on, but if your mindset is really rock solid, like when I talk about mindset, I mean your mind needs to be in a certain place for you to consistently go day after day, believing that this path that you've chosen, this career path that you've selected, you want to see it through to the end, right? It takes a lot of grit, it takes a lot of perseverance, resilience in that regard to steady your mind on something like that because a lot of people give up. I've, even as I am, I've had the opportunity to mentor people that gave up at a point in time. Either they left to pursue business, other businesses, or they switched paths, which is okay, right? Not everybody is going to code. That's another thing that I feel like we're going to talk about on another video entirely. Not everybody has to code, right? Not tech does not just involve coding. There are many other paths that you can take. I know people that are in tech now that have never written a single line of code and are really, really successful. So reflecting on my journey so far at this point in time, looking back to when I started in this space, 2020, we're in 2024 now, that's 4 proper solid years, 4 years, right? And there's still a lot more to be done. There's still a lot I have to see and do. There's still a lot I have to achieve. There's still a lot I have to learn, right? It's an ever evolving, ever growing space that you have to be prepared to come into if you want to come into. You need to prepare yourself, your mindset, your will, and dedicate yourself to this space because I'm a living example that there's a lot that can come out of this space. I'm so happy where I am now, and I'm still looking ahead to do more. Having learned HTML, CSS, JavaScript, had that foundation, done more stuff like Angular, React, learned C Sharp, C++, and had the interest, had the opportunity, had the will to share all that I knew, even while I was learning. That's another point that I feel like people would need to take. Being able to share what you learn, no matter how small, writing articles. Um, right now, it could be like making videos or putting out content on any of the social media platforms. It could be like creating tweets or creating posts on either Twitter or LinkedIn. There are different ways that you can share your views. There are different ways that you can put yourself out there as somebody that is in this space and is trying to get better, because ultimately that's the times that we are now. The tech space of 2016, 2017, 2018 is not what it is now. It's a lot more saturated, it's a lot more packed, and we need ways that we can differentiate ourselves from every other person, right? So it's going to continue to evolve, and once you dedicate yourself to this space, then I feel like there's a lot inside, there's a lot that you'll be able to achieve. So that is just me, and that is just what I have to say. It's an opinion, right? And I hope that this video has been really, really insightful. I hope that it has served the purpose for which I recorded it. I want to thank you for watching this video up to this point, and I really hope that you gained something from it. If you did, please leave a comment down below telling me what you gained. If you're already in the tech space, telling me how your tech journey has been. Are there any similarities? Are there any differences? What would you like to share? What other things can you say to help more people that are going to watch this video and be in the comments too? Just leave anything you want in the comment section and let's talk. I hope you like. If you found it valuable, subscribe if you've not already. Share to your people, your friends, your colleagues that might find it interesting, and share your views, right? Share your views. Come down to the comments. Let's talk and let's enjoy ourselves. In my future videos, I'm going to be going deeper into different career paths because I already understand that a lot of people, especially beginners, find it hard to pick a career path, right? They find it confusing, they find it a bit daunting, right? So I'm going to be talking about different career paths in tech, their differences, what makes them similar, what you need to know to get into each of them, how you need to approach them. Those are things I'm going to be covering in future videos. And we might be having a guest soon. So maybe we might be having a guest soon. Um, I don't want to start calling any name, but you guys should just anticipate that there might be a guest on this channel. And yeah, thank you for watching again. Go crazy. I'm going to be delving into my journey in tech, giving you guys insights on. I'm going to be delving deep into my journey in tech, giving you guys insights on, not insights into, insights on how I started, what I learned, what it. Hi guys.